Were the lead mask deaths of Brazil just an innocent attempt to recreate the movie Man in the Iron Mask? Perhaps it was a high school science experiment gone wrong. Yo, for real though, where the hell did they even get these masks? Stick around and you might just find out the answers to these questions on this episode of Unsolved Mysteries. Solved! Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. It is Saturday once again, and it's a very special Saturday because joining me again is Sandra Cherry. Sorry.
Having trouble remembering my name there?
I'm having trouble with everything today, man. And it's not just special because she's back, it's special because she is now my permanent fill-in for Colt. So you'll be hearing her voice every week.
Yep.
So what did I say? It's Saturday?
Yeah, it is indeed a Saturday.
I didn't script my intro this time, so I don't know if anybody can tell.
That's okay, we're just winging it like a bucket of chicken.
Winging it like a bucket of... I get it, but... Anyway, we got a doozy for you today. This one's really... It's really interesting. Do you know anything about this? Like, have you ever heard of this?
No, I haven't. So you get to monologue to your heart's content, and I get to just sit back here and go, wow. Because I know nothing.
And apparently you're Owen Wilson.
I just really like that meme.
All right, well, so let's go ahead and just dive right on in here.
Right.
On the afternoon of August 20th, 1966. That's right, we're going way back.
Yeah, that is a ways.
Brazilian police were requested to intervene on the hill of Morro do Vintém in the city of, I'm going to butcher this, Niterói, N-I-T-E-R-O-I.
Netroi?
Niterói? I don't know. Niterói.
It's Portuguese, I guess?
Probably. I would say Niterói.
Niterói.
But that would be more like French.
It sounds vaguely Russian.
Anyway, they were asked to come intervene after an 18-year-old named Jorge Alves da Costa, while he was flying a kite up on the hill, had stumbled upon the corpses of two men lying side by side.
Suicide pact.
Okay, well. Alright, guys, you heard it here first. Shortest episode to date.
Sorry, you just say two guys dead laying side by side. I'm like, oh, yes, clearly they were lovers and they had a suicide pact. So.
Well, the discovery of identity documents in the clothes and the subsequent investigations led to the identification of the victims, and they were Manuel Pereira.
Do you want to, message me the spelling and see if I can give it a shot?
Manuel Pereira.
Pum.
Anyway, that guy and Miguel Jose Viana. They were both electronic technicians, and they had left the nearby town of Campos for work reasons on the 17th of August. Okay. So I got my notes from an Italian Wikipedia that had been translated.
Oh, that's always fun.
I think I forgot to translate some of the stuff.
Well, if you need any help, I took Italian for 2 years in college. So I'm probably fluent. Clearly.
Because I remember everything from the 3 years of Spanish that I took 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah. I had that in college. High school. Yep. And that totally didn't make me mix up puerta and porta all the time. Bueno, bono. Words.
Anyway, they had left Campos for work on the 17th of August. And the bodies were in a state of decomposition, and they were lying on their backs. Their faces turned towards the sky, and their hands behind their necks, as if they were just just laid down to look up at the stars, you know.
So romantic.
They were on a bed of Ataleia oleifera,
which are
pindoba leaves. Ataleia oleifera pindoba leaves that had been cut with a sharp tool, and they wore two new identical raincoats over really elegant clothes. There's a pair of sunglasses found near the corpses with a ring tucked into one of the temples, a handkerchief bearing the abbreviation MAS, an empty mineral water bottle, and a package containing 2 wet napkins. There was a rectangular concrete block that was also found in the immediate vicinity, but there's no evidence that this was connected to these 2 guys.
You see, everything you're saying is just sort of strengthening my initial idea that this was like a romantic suicide pact.
Okay, but it gets weird.
Okay.
Because we're going to talk about the stuff leading up to them getting here.
Okay, cool. Also, I looked up the type of leaves they were laying on. It's like a kind of fern sort of thing. Like, it looks ferny.
Which doesn't really help disprove your theory.
No.
So, both of them were still wearing these bizarre lead masks that had like a visor-like shape to shield their eyes. And from the position that the masks were found, it was evident that they were worn by the victims in the form of like glasses at the time of death.
So they were looking at the solar eclipse?
Maybe?
Did the solar eclipse kill them? It might just be the lead that they were breathing in through the masks.
I don't know. Can the solar eclipse kill people?
I mean, it can make you blind if you're not wearing proper eye protection, like a visor. And they were positioned so that they could, like, lay down and look at the sky.
True, but I don't think that would have killed them necessarily.
Might have been aliens.
That's actually one of the bigger theories.
Love it. Let's continue. I want to get to that.
The scene, as it appeared to the investigators, provided no clues about the causes of death of the 2 technicians, and even more bizarre was these lead masks, because why the were they wearing them?
Yeah.
There were no traces of a struggle or any violence that was detected, but everything on the contrary actually suggested that they had stretched out on the leaves and they had just fallen asleep and never woke up.
Yeah.
And to make the case even more complicated, the discovery in that same scene of some sheets of block notes contained, in addition to like lists of electronic components, there was a series of instructions probably linked to the reasons that led to the death of the 2 men. And we'll get to that in a bit.
Okay. Mysteries thickening.
Right. The instructions were perfectly intelligible, but they were written in a clear and orderly handwriting and written in correct Portuguese. Mm-hmm. But they're very, very cryptic.
Huh.
You'll see what I mean by that. Because, like, it's perfectly intelligible in that it's great sentences. Like, they make the sentences in and of themselves make sense, but they have no clue what the sentences mean.
So it was like a cognizant, like, I'm writing this out, I'm not panicked or anything, but I'm writing in absolute code.
It was like instructions, but they couldn't figure out what the instructions meant, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It'd be like if you wrote in your own shorthand, like wrote out a recipe in your own shorthand, you know, like, do this, do that, and then wait for this to happen, and somebody were to come along and try to read the recipe, and they were like, okay, all of these instructions are in perfect English, but there's no way I can cook this dish because I have no idea what it means.
Basically writing a recipe in Cockney slang.
Sure.
Yeah,
you put eggs in a bowl, see? And you... you what, mate?
Oh gosh, I wish I knew Cockney slang, but all I know is that they rhyme everything, and it's completely unintelligible unless you know exactly what they're referencing.
Right. Like, have you ever played Assassin's Creed Syndicate?
Oh, I love Syndicate so much.
We used to call it Assassin's Creed, you what, mate?
Yeah. The amount of times you hear that.
Or just, what, mate?
You what, mate? We're going down the streets of the old London town, eh?
Jog on, wanker!
Jog on, wanker. Oh, you stole my wanker. It's like, what?
Anyway, but they were from the city of Campos, and it became known that they were linked by a very deep mutual friendship. You know, I understand that this is not helping you're helping to disprove your theory.
Nope. Anytime you go into history and they reference a historical person as having a deep mutual friendship with another man, you're like, oh, they were gay.
But you don't have to be such a dick about possibly being right.
Sorry. I'll keep my I told you so's in my own brain.
But yeah, the 2 of them, they were very good friends, and they worked together within their profession. This is really weird. translation. Like, anytime I'm stumbling over it, it's because I realized that the way that it's worded makes no sense, so I have to make it make sense. They worked together. It's assumed that they were going to try to start their own business in the, like, electronics repair sector.
Okay.
They were both married, not to each other.
Ah, beards. Okay.
Well, I just wanted to get ahead of that before you went, see, they were married together to each other.
No, not in, like, the 1960s, no.
That's true, especially not in Brazil. They were both married, and they were passionate about technology and spiritism. And from statements that were made by their acquaintances, it was learned that they were affiliated with some kind of, like, secret esoteric circles.
So they were New Agers?
Maybe.
Huh.
The hints that I'm getting, that I get from, like, reading all of this is that they were into some kind of occult shit.
Yeah, that tracks.
So, but they both claim to be in contact with beings from another planet.
Oh yeah, that's New Age. How many quartz crystal wands did they have each?
Anyway, in particular, Miguel, like many Brazilians, he was a staunch follower of spiritualism, and his influence was decisive in the conversion to the spiritualist doctrines of Manuel Herrera himself.
Parum-pa-pum-pum.
And the two were seen participating in all kinds of sessions of the Espírito-born Jesus Center in Campos, which were held in the months of June and July in 1966. So another weird part about the deaths is that the corpses were found in a very impervious point of the hill.
Impervious?
Yeah, I think what it means is that it was really hard to get to.
Okay.
But again, this was translated from Italian. So the corpses were found in a very out-of-the-way, like, hard-to-reach point on the hill that was then known as Morro de Ventum. Mm-hmm. And it actually gives coordinates, but that's...
Yeah, we don't need to, like, look at the coordinates on the map. We got this. It's not like we'd know what we were looking at anyway.
So, apparently at the time, it's believed that this was a rather quiet area in the suburbs of the city of Niterói. Currently, anyone who is asked about the place, who's visited, says that it's very frightening, with uninhabited areas where there are shacks just everywhere, and it's like a labyrinth of irregular paths. Winding climbs, intersecting passages, high voltage pylons, things like that.
We must construct more pylons.
You require more minerals. You need more Vespine gas. Well, then get more minerals. I've got 3,000 probes. Just get more minerals. So, the cops.
The cops.
Are you just going to repeat everything I say now?
I don't know.
Welcome to Unsolved Mysteries Solved. Today's topic, why the is Cassandra mimicking me?
I don't know. It might just have something to do with me being a little sister.
Well, I'm a little brother, but I don't do that shit.
You were missing out then.
So, the cops did a lot of investigation into this. And through their investigations, they were able to pretty much reconstruct what happened on the 3 days, I think 3 or 4 days, leading up to the death of these two guys, Miguel and Manuel. So we're going to start with Wednesday.
Dun dun.
On the morning of August 17th, the two of them got on a bus from Campos that would take them to Niterói, which is about 200 kilometers away. Mm-hmm. The motivation that they both, or the reason that they gave to their respective families for the trip was that they needed to go get some electric components that they needed for something they were building. And also, they were looking for a used Volkswagen sedan, and they were going to, like, look at one in Niterói and possibly see if they wanted to buy it.
Why do they need a used Volkswagen sedan?
I don't know.
That's very specific.
Right, and apparently this information comes from one of their uncles. He said that they were acting really weird. Like, he saw them on the way to the bus stop, I guess, and he said that they were acting really strange. And, you know, he asked them, like, well, why are you going, you know, that's so far, like, what are you going way over there for? And he just said that the way they said that they were looking for a car was just really odd. And, like, I'm just imagining, like, you know, they're walking to the bus stop and they see the uncle and they're like, and, like, one of them's like, okay, look, if he asks where we're going, just say we're going to get a car. Can you, like, can you handle that?
And
can you just say, okay, good.
Okay, fine. We're gonna tell him we're getting a car. You know the way to make lies more believable? If you're very specific about what you're lying about, because you can't lie with that many specifics. It's gotta be a truth, right?
That's actually, no, don't do that. Don't. That's wrong. That's not what we want to do. Just tell him we're going to look at a car. Okay, can you handle that?
Yeah, totally. Sure.
Okay,
Fine.
okay.
Yeah, just roll with me
right.
if I say something.
But
okay?
Don't. Just tell him that we're going to get a car.
Right.
That's all you got to say. Just, let's practice while we're walking. Hey, where are you guys headed?
We're going to get a car.
Okay, but you don't, like, the way you're saying it is a little weird.
Gotta get a rental. No, wait, we're getting a used car, right? Damn it.
Okay, just...
Oh, wait, here he is.
Hey, where are you guys going?
Hi. Yeah, we're looking for, used cars.
I don't...
Any old used cars.
Okay.
Normal used cars.
I'm not...
Volkswagens.
Hold on, just a second ago you said it was just any old used, now it's a Volkswagen. Like, what's going on?
I mean, Volkswagen sedans, any old used cars.
It was good to see you, Uncle. We gotta go. Shut up, stop. I guess part of the reason that it was weird that they were going to look at a car in Detroit was that everybody was like, it'd be cheaper to just buy a car here. Why are you going clear out there to look at a car? And that's when they were like, well, we need a Volkswagen sedan specifically, and there's one out there,
Yeah.
There's another person, Helcio Correa Gomez, who was kind of a collaborator with the two guys.
Okay.
When they questioned him, he told them that he accompanied them to the bus stop that morning, and they told him that they were going to Sao Paulo. But when they got to the entrance to the bus stop, like he was going to go with them and, to buy their tickets and see him off, and they kept insisting that he just stay there. They didn't need him or whatever, so they eventually persuaded him to turn back at the entrance to the bus stop.
Yeah, it's like, it's okay, we don't need you to wave us off. We're just, going to do the thing at Sao Paulo. It's just like a vacation, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I can wave you off. I mean, like, I have to be on, like, a bus that's going in, like, a same but opposite direction. It's in the same terminal. No, it's fine.
No, we don't want you there. We're just going to get a car, okay? Stop questioning me.
That's not suspicious at all.
He asked nothing about the car. You just blew it, Manuel. Around 2:30, the two arrived in Detroit. And,
in Detroit.
See, and this is where, like, the way it's worded is weird.
Uh-huh.
What it actually says is, around 2:30 p.m., the two arrived in Detroit. The investigations will show that in the afternoon they went to the investigations will show? Why not just, anyway.
Why not just say the investigation showed?
Or, you don't even need to say the investigation showed. Just be like, yeah, they went to a rave or whatever.
And they did that and this, and then they bought a car, and then they drove it off a cliff.
Speaking of raves, this is... Man, we are never going to get this episode done. Maybe it was a bad idea picking you.
What? Just because we keep going on tangents.
Yeah, because it's been half a hour, and we haven't even got through the first of, 6 days. But no, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but... I said the word rave a minute ago, and it reminded me of... There's this video on YouTube. It's a clip. And it's Gaston, and he's like, Maurice, he was in here the other day raving. And then it shows him with the glow sticks.
And he's got, the glow sticks.
It's one of my favorite things I've ever seen.
Slow down, Maurice.
Yeah. So around 2:30 p.m., they arrived in Detroit, and they went to an electronics store, and they had previously been customers there. It's giving me the name of the electronics store, which I don't give a shit about. They didn't, however, make any purchases or order anything, and it's believed that there was some kind of rendezvous that took place while they were in there.
Drugs.
With people who gave them some kind of, instructions on what to do.
Okay.
Witnesses stated that they had noticed them in a clothing store where they purchased the two identical raincoats, and the shop staff reported that after purchasing the clothes, they left the shop in such a hurry that they didn't even wear they didn't even put the raincoats on, even though it was starting to rain outside, which is why the staff thought they stopped in to buy the raincoats.
Huh.
At roughly... Now, why would you put 2:30 p.m. and then later use military time?
I don't know. freaking Italians normally run on military time, let's be fair.
And, being a trucker, I run on military time most of the time, too.
Yeah, but it's just confusing making the switch back and forth.
So at around 4:30 p.m., they were seen inside the Bar das Rovas, where Miguel bought a bottle of mineral water with magnesium.
Okay, if he was having those kind of problems, I can understand.
It doesn't say. It just says that there was magnesium in it.
I mean, magnesium is one of those supplements you take when you are having trouble with BMs.
Right.
So, I'm just like, okay.
And this is, I don't know if this is particular to this bar or just a Brazil thing, but when you buy a bottle of water down there, you pay a deposit for the bottle, and if you return the bottle, you get your money back for the deposit.
Weird,
right.
But okay. Rent a bottle.
I'm pretty sure the bottles are much more sturdy than like our typical water bottles would be, like if you were to go to the store and buy like a bottle of Dasani or something.
Yeah, they're not that disposable.
Now the bartender who served him at the counter said that Miguel's attitude caused attention because he appeared very nervous, and he seemed like he was in a huge hurry. See, okay, here's an example of me having to, on the fly, figure out what the it says. It says, and in the grip of a pressing haste. So instead, yeah, he was in a hurry. Like, why couldn't you just say that?
He was in the grip of a pressing haste. It's just like,
anyway.
All right.
But he said that he seemed like he was in a hurry and was very nervous because he kept checking his watch continuously. And after paying, he took the receipt, which he would have used to get his deposit back on the bottle. Now, the reason this is weird is because a lot of people hypothesize that this was a double suicide. If there was a double suicide, why'd he take the receipt like he was going to bring the bottle back? So the fact that he took the receipt indicates to some people that these two men did not intend to die. They intended to come back.
Okay.
So.
They could have just forgotten.
Forgotten to come back?
Yeah. They could have forgotten. They're like, oh, I'm just going to walk out, and it's like, oh, hey, I still have this receipt in my pocket. Well, it's too late to turn back now. I do that all the time.
A local said that they noticed them arriving at the foot of the hill of Morro do Ventum in a Jeep, driven by a blonde man, and they were in the company of another couple of people who were never identified. And they got out of the vehicle, and they began to walk up the hill towards where their corpses were found, and this local said that this aroused his curiosity because he saw them climbing up the hill when it was getting dark and the weather was starting to turn. Like it was starting to get worse.
Yeah, so not stargazing.
Not stargazing weather, not, hey, let's climb up. Again, remember, a treacherous hill. Yeah. Like, very weird behavior. And in the course of later investigations, apparently the Centro Espirita had been founded along the path leading up to the hill. And this is a mystical group of enthusiasts of spiritualism. And they carried out studies and esoteric research that would later come to light. But there was no existence of any relationship between the members of that group and Manuel and Miguel. So
yeah, they were part of a different spiritualist group.
Right. There's something weird about this hill, as you will see later, because these are not the only two who have died under weird circumstances on this hill. This is just the weirdest one.
This is like the spiritualist, let's die on this hill.
This is the literal hill that we chose to die on.
Yeah, so that we can reach the heavens and speak to the aliens who are going to make us ascend to the 5th dimension. We're going to see the little men on Mars and learn the secrets of the Garden of Eden.
Oh,
That's how this works, right?
Yeah, but when do they get to meet Brendan Urie?
I know.
I was laughing so hard because, like, for some reason it popped in my head and it's just so funny to me. Like, oh, so this is the hill you're going to choose to die on? No, I'm going to die on that one. And he, like, points off to it. Wait, what?
Yeah, that's a great way to win an argument. No, that hill. That's the literal hill I'm going to die on.
It's been picked out for a while. Oh, God, it's coming up a couple of weeks, actually.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, everyone's got to buy a used Volkswagen sedan. You know?
On the afternoon of Saturday, August 20th, 2 days later, Jorge da Costa Alves He had gone in search of his kite that he had lost, and he smelled death, essentially.
Oh, yeah. Decomposition. Very, very distinct.
Dead bodies. When he finally got to the point where the bodies were, he rushed to the headquarters of the 2nd Police Department, or Segunda Delegacia de Policia of Niterói, and informed them of what he had found. Mm-hmm. Sunday. In the early morning, the following day, on Sunday, the place where the corpses have been found was finally reached by police officers. Now, supposedly it took so long to get there because there had just been a really bad rainstorm and, mud and rock slides, and again, it's like treacherous terrain.
Yeah, and that couldn't have been good for the decomposition. Right,
and apparently it was just really hard to get up there. So it took them until, they couldn't get there Saturday, and it took them until the next day to get there. But they police officers and firefighters and some journalists, small crowd of onlookers, they finally got up there. And the advanced state of decomposition of the 2 bodies, as well as, how hard the place was to reach, and the presence of numerous people unrelated to the investigation, probably compromised the securing of the scene by the police.
Oh, hella, yeah. Like a whole bunch of people wandering around being like, oh my gosh, look at this. Isn't this so exciting? We got dinner and a show.
Right. Except they're not Minnesotan.
No.
Oh, God.
That's my default crowd voice. That's my innocent bystander voice. It's just a Minnesotan who has no idea what's going on.
It was just a couple who was on vacation. Oh, dinner and a show, eh? Well, I tell you what.
Well, I tell you what, man. You don't see stuff like this every day. I just came down from Milwaukee.
We don't ever see murders in Minnesota.
The most we see is someone getting sat on by a cow.
Isn't Minnesota like one of the murder capitals of the United States or something? Like for people going missing?
I can Google that.
It feels like the North would be a good place to murder people, though. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much like open area to dump a body where no one would find it.
Honestly, the scariest places are where people are the friendliest. Because you never know what's being hidden behind their smiles.
Yeah. I mean, unless you grew up there, and then it's, there's a little tiny town near where I grew up where everybody is just super friendly, and I grew up in that area, so it's not really... I know that those people are actually friendly.
Yeah.
or at least that they're probably not. Like, those people gossip so much in those little towns that...
Oh, yeah.
Very little chance that one of them is hiding a dark past because somebody would have found out and everybody in the town would have heard about it 5 minutes later.
True. See, my dad raised me to basically be like, you always wave at passing cars because if you're in a small town and you don't wave, they will pull out a gun and shoot you.
I don't know if that's true.
That's apparently my dad's experience.
Hold on, did that actually happen to your dad?
No, but he was raised in small town Oklahoma, like back in the 1950s.
I thought he was speaking from experience. Like, yeah, I was driving through this little town. This guy waved at me. I didn't wave back, and he just pulled a Yui and came after me and started shooting my tires out. Teach you not to wave at me, bitch. We're a friendly goddamn town around here.
We're so friendly, we're just gonna chase you down and shoot your goddamn legs off. Because you might otherwise be a pinko kami because you didn't wave at us.
You were saying about the murder capital?
Murder capital of the U.S. is East Street, Louis, Illinois. Very specific.
East Street, Louis?
East Street, Louis.
You sure it's not East St. Louis?
Maybe.
I bet it's East St. Louis.
It's St. dot.
Yeah, that's St. Louis.
Usually that's street.
Wait, hold on. And I'm not in any way making fun of you?
What?
Do you not know that St. Louis is like one of the biggest cities in Missouri?
I mean, I've heard of it.
Huh. Sorry, I'm really not making fun of you. It's just, I've never met anyone who had never, heard of St. Louis.
Well, yeah, I mean, I am familiar that St. Louis is a city in the Midwest. Probably Illinois.
Oh, you said Illinois. Wait.
I-L?
Yeah, St. Louis, Illinois. Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, St. Louis is in Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is happening right now? I feel like I'm on drugs.
I don't know. Drugs? Like that owl. Drugs? No, we don't need any drugs. Who invited him?
Just say we're going to get a car. Got.
Yeah, I was confused because they put East with a capital E in front of St. Louis, and so I was like, East Street? Back on track.
What the hell were we even talking about? But yeah, anyway, so, instead of being able to keep this quiet, they weren't able to secure the area very well, and there were a bunch of journalists, and news got out of these 2 deaths very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Extra, read all about it. 2 men dead together, wearing lead masks for some reason.
Laying on ferns. Were they gay? We don't know that for sure yet. Stop it! So during the autopsy, as they were examining the corpses, the autopsy was made problematic by the conditions of the advanced state of decomposition.
Oh yeah, super decay.
And by the time the autopsy took place, the forensic office of Detroit was overworked. And the mortuary chambers in the area were already all occupied, and so because of this, among a few other things, it was not possible to use the cold rooms to keep the bodies the time that was necessary to perform more detailed examinations.
Sounds like they were up shit creek without a paddle.
Yeah, without a boat.
Yeah.
Despite all this, during the autopsy, there was no trauma or burns detected that could have been the cause of death. And the analysis of the internal organs was unreliable again because of the decomposition, but showed no traces of any kind of poisoning or anything.
Yeah.
Basically, because of all this, the cause of death that was established was just cardiac arrest due to unknown causes.
Basically, we don't know what the happened. Right. They're just dead.
It's like the adult form of SIDS.
Yeah. That's an acronym, isn't it? I should know what this
Sudden
is.
infant death syndrome.
Yes.
Basically, when an infant dies and they have no clue why, they just call it SIDS.
Yep, sometimes kids die. Don't lay them on their front.
That's going to be our new motto. Sometimes kids die, folks. Remember not to question us or you'll be put down.
Yep.
Well, then there was a new autopsy that was ordered by a judge the following year, and was carried out on August 25th, 1967, but it didn't bring any new information to the investigations. So in May of
Because they decomposed further.
Right. So in May of 1969, given the lack of clues about the existence of a crime, they basically closed this as a criminal investigation. Because at first it was still open as a, possible criminal investigation. So, but since they couldn't find anything that might suggest that, they went ahead and closed it. One of the elements that was never clarified during the autopsy was the reason why, despite being exposed for 3 days and 4 nights, the bodies were not touched by any animals.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Normally, you would expect, vultures or something.
Yeah, and apparently, the area where they were found is rampant with carrion creatures. So. Yeah.
They should have been picked clean.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, shit. There's the Dyatlov Pass incident. It's long story short, these kids were found in the mountains with missing their eyeballs and pieces of their cheeks and stuff. And despite the fact that it's way up in the mountains, they were like, yeah, this was clearly carrion animals that, ate their eyes and stuff.
Yeah, like carrion animals will do.
Right. So, if you can find them way up there in the mountains in the middle of winter, why wouldn't they be anyway?
Yeah, sky burial.
One of the elements that made the case particularly disturbing was the discovery of we already talked about the masks.
Yeah, they were on their faces and were made of lead.
So we're going to go ahead and skip ahead. What's weird is that, because lead is usually used for radiation shielding, the fact that the masks are made of lead has led some people to speculate about contacts with aliens. or paranormal experiments,
Yeah. We got to protect ourselves from the rays of, the sun aliens that are gonna come down and they're just radiating UV all over us.
Right.
I don't know. Something like that. You got uranium aliens.
So, and what's funny is that to further fuel these speculations, on August 12th, back before they even headed for this hill, the 2 of them were hammering on a lead pipe in one of their backyards, and the neighbor asked them about it, and they said that they were working to avoid the end of the world because in 1968 a cyclone was going to devastate the planet.
I think cyclones are a little more localized than the entire planet, unless you're Jupiter.
Yeah.
Were they going to teleport the red spot to planet Earth?
I mean, they were working to avoid the end of the world.
Well, the aliens being the they.
Okay. Like, these two guys are going to teleport it down here and then save the day.
No. Like, they had to die. They had to sacrifice themselves for our sins so the aliens wouldn't make the red spot appear on planet Earth.
See, we saved the world from the catastrophe that we caused. But anyway, that same evening, the neighbor's wife caught a glimpse of them trying on the masks in front of a mirror. So, I don't know, like, again, they were working on something in their backyard. According to an article that appeared on the following September on the 16th, during the investigation conducted by the police, the remains of the lead pipe from which the two masks had been formed were found in the laboratory at Miguel Viana's house. And during the same research, a book about spiritualism and science came to light, in which the passages concerning intense brightness, masks, and guide spirits had been highlighted. Apart from the disturbing masks worn by the two corpses, the case was made even more mysterious by the presence among the objects found on the scene of the block notes, which we talked about, the sheets with the block notes, which we are now going to discuss. So, apparently there were 3 sheets. The first one contained a list of electronic materials and spare parts, like pipes and valves, and an equation concerning the application of Ohm's law. Nothing about these appears strange because they were electricians related to their job, possibly.
Yeah, so that, tracks, sorta.
Second one said, Sunday, 1 tablet after the meal. Monday, 1 tablet in the morning on an empty stomach. Tuesday, 1 tablet after the meal. Wednesday, 1 tablet before bedtime.
Were they eating lead tablets?
We don't know. But the death occurred on Wednesday, August 17th.
Okay. I can see them killing themselves with lead. They seemed a little bit preoccupied with it.
And the third sheet immediately captured the general interest of people. It was also written with handwriting that would later turn out to be Miguel's. It said, at 4:30 to be in the agreed place. At 6:30, swallow the capsule after the effect. Protect the metals, wait for the mask signal.
Weird.
So you see what I mean? Like, these sentences make sense, but they don't make sense.
Yeah. So it made sense in context to themselves, but they expected the pills they were taking to have some sort of, magical effect, I'm guessing.
Maybe.
And the masks would help them see star people that shone bright like a diamond?
See, I don't know. That's the big mystery is, again, I mean, I've taken receipts when I don't need them, but if this was a suicide, why did he take the receipt for the bottle? Also, there was something else that suggests this might not be a suicide, but I can't remember what it was.
Alright, so I have a good idea as to why maybe they kept the receipt.
Go ahead.
Lead poisoning symptoms. So, it can come with pain in the abdomen or joints, constipation, nausea, or vomiting, fatigue or loss of appetite, hyperactivity or irritability, headache, insomnia, memory loss.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah?
Chances are these weren't, any kind of lead pills or anything, though. Because
remember,
during the autopsy, even though, they were severely decomposed, they found no evidence of any kind of toxification or poisoning.
True. Maybe they were just taking homeopathic remedies.
Maybe.
Just here's a pill with, snake antivenom. It will make you see God.
Yeah, so that was the other thing I was trying to remember.
Here's some fish oil. It can make you see Atlanteans.
Here's some fish oil. It will make your skin smooth.
Yeah.
So the investigations ended with the termination of the criminal proceeding, and there were no decisive elements that were identified to, there was no crime. These people were not murdered. They were not committing any crimes. During the investigation on the 27th, Alcio Correo Gomez, remember the guy that went with him to the bus stop?
Yeah.
Was arrested on suspicion of being responsible for the death of his friends due to some contradictions in the statements that he made during his 2 interrogations, and the fact that at the time of death of his friends, he was in Campos, 200 kilometers away, eventually got him cleared of all charges.
Okay.
And the case was dismissed as natural cause for both of the people. In 1962, the body of a radio and television technician named Hermes Luis Fetosa was found in the same area of Niterói in a low hill called Morro de Cruzeiro. And investigations led that the victim had gone to that place with the specific intent of experimenting with alleged psychic talents that would allow him to pick up radio and television signals without the aid of electronic instruments, but only with the power of his mind.
Oh, gosh. Bless his heart.
Really interesting. A lead mask was found on the scene that was quite similar to the other two.
So, gives us some insight on what the other two were thinking.
I'm sure you saw that coming.
Yeah, copycats, you know? They're everywhere. You gotta wear the lead mask in order to let the microwaves enter your brain space.
The only difference was that he was not wearing his, it was just, like, next to him.
Weird. I mean, I guess he had one of those cards saying that I can't wear a mask, it's going to cause me,
God.
like, aplexia.
I can't wear a mask because I have constitutional rights. So the possible explanations for the death of these two men are pretty much endless. Like, there are as many explanations as there are people, pretty much. Because of the lack of reliable information that can, like, define the causes of death.
Yeah, so it's like trying to guess why JFK was assassinated.
Oh shit, man, we solved that one.
Oh yeah, that's right. I still haven't listened to that episode.
I think that was like episode 5. Did we solve it?
I need to go back for that one.
I don't think we solved why he was killed. I think it was...
More the how.
Who.
The who, yeah.
It was the Who. The Who did it.
The who killed him.
Who are you? It's like, Brendan Urie is the guardian of the gates to the Garden of Eden. The Who killed JFK. Ozzy Osbourne caused 9/11.
Yeah, it always goes back around to music at one point or another. Because all the musicians are lizard people involved with the Illuminati.
No, not just the musicians. It's all celebrities.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, one of the theories is that they were murdered. I'll provide some stuff, but this has been debunked because the cops couldn't find any foul play.
That they could find, under the autopsy.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, because what if they had, a very small nick over their carotid artery, and then they just bled out? Couldn't tell, they were too decomposed.
I mean, yeah, but, God, that would take somebody really, not intelligent, but, some hardcore premeditation.
Yeah.
Because plus the theory is that it was a robbery murder.
Oh.
And
what would they have robbed? The Volkswagen sedan?
Oh! Earlier, I was going to say that they left with over 2 million cruceros. So I think it was that they left with 2.7 million.
Yeah.
Which would have been roughly 33,000 euros. I don't know what that would be, which would probably be
in dollars?
$40,000, something like that.
Something like that. It's a hefty amount.
So, I mean, they had quite a bit of money.
Yeah, enough to fill a briefcase.
But the fact that they had so much money and the fact that they were seen arriving at the foot of the hill with 4 other dudes makes people think that maybe they were murdered for their money.
Right, which is possible.
It's possible.
Or they could have just, handed off the money to the people who drove them up there in the first place. Because who were they?
Another theory is that they were using psychotropic substances.
Valid.
But again, even in a state of decomposition, I think they probably could have told from their intestines, if they had been using some kind of...
Especially over as long a term period as was stated by their notes.
It's believed that maybe they were using LSD or something like that, believing it would help them communicate with beings from another planet.
Yep.
But they didn't find anything of maybe they overdosed, but they didn't find anything to substantiate that.
Could have just been vitamin D pills for all we know.
Maybe they had high blood pressure and it was blood pressure medication.
Yeah, it's just gonna write very cryptic notes on how to take care of their totally normal health.
Yeah. Of course, there's aliens, which normally I make fun of the aliens theory because, in everything mysterious, somebody goes, oh, it was aliens. Well, I don't believe in aliens, but there's reason to believe that this has more to do with aliens than other mysteries because of the fact that they were into spiritualism and shit.
Oh yeah, they were very directly referencing, we're going to try looking for aliens now.
Right.
With these blood masks. So it's okay, some signs point to yes.
Right, and people who favor this hypothesis generally quote the testimony of Mrs. Gracinda Barbosa Cautino de Souza, who was a resident of Fonseca in the area where they were found, who in the afternoon of the 17th, like she and a few other people, claimed to have seen small oval-shaped orange-colored objects flying over the hill.
Okay.
And then they would stop at a specific spot above it for a few minutes. And then, like they said, it appeared to emit flashes of light in every direction.
Huh. Maybe they were killed because they got too close to the truth. And the aliens didn't like that.
Maybe. But there is a scientific explanation for that we'll get to here in a minute.
Okay.
I'm going to add one more K to that because you only had 3.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for keeping me from making a terrible mistake.
Goddamn racist.
Oh, no! Terrible reveal! Secretly, all this time, we had a clan hood under the table.
We? I'm not a clan member.
Absolutely not.
Wait, is there somebody else in the room with you? Hey, are you being held hostage? Blink twice if you're being held hostage.
I don't have a camera on. You can't see me blink.
God damn it.
I haven't blinked once this entire time.
Well, see, now this is just getting creepy.
Yeah, so let's just drop the bit.
I have not blinked in 4 years. I am but a mere human. No robots here. Beep boop. So
Beep boop bop. I am not a robot.
Another explanation is the spiritualism and the occult experiments they were doing. So when the events took place, one of the most important Brazilian scholars of occultism and parapsychology, Father Oscar Gonzalez Quevedo, said in an interview with a newspaper that the victims had died during an occult experiment, during which the light emissions from an unidentified, quote, new world should have stimulated the, quote, third eye of the participants. However, these emissions would also have been extremely dangerous so as to electrocute those who underwent the experience. And lead masks would therefore have had the function of protecting the participants from the risk.
Okay.
Now, according to Quevedo's reconstruction of events, the participants should have prepared for the experience by taking drugs to enter a trance on an empty stomach in order to induce a state of psychophysical imbalance in the body. These types of experiences would be known as PSI gamma, in which the soul is freed to acquire a state of spiritual abstraction, and hyperesthesia, in which the overexcited senses are used to capture the more subtle aspects of reality. So basically, this guy is like an insane person. And
I mean, everything he said is tracked with the evidence so far.
That's true. But like his theory is that either they didn't follow the instructions properly, or because remember, they did stop somewhere, and it was believed that they stopped and got instructions from somebody.
Yeah.
And perhaps they were getting instructions on how to do this experiment.
Yeah.
His theory is that either they didn't do the experiment properly, maybe they skipped a step, or something just went wrong. And since they weren't properly protected, that's why they died.
Yeah.
Now, the scientific explanation for the floating thing is ball lightning.
Oh, ball lightning, yeah. I mean, I guess usually I've seen ball lightning be blue, though.
Yeah, but I mean, through, they saw it from a distance, and, maybe there were, barometric pressure was low or something and changed. Because, there are these pillars in the city where I live. They're actually, it's just a normal light, but there's some kind of chemical in the light that, based on the barometric pressure, they change colors.
That makes sense, yeah. Okay.
So,
So, yeah, could have been ball light.
But a foil to this one is that they, again, did not appear to have any kind of electrical burdens that would have been consistent with having been electrocuted.
Yeah.
So, let me get your thoughts first, and then we'll solve this sucker.
Okay, so, thoughts. Obviously, they were really deep in this occult shit.
Yeah.
They apparently believed that all of this stuff was happening and that they had to do this sort of experiment ritual in order to see the beyond. Mm-hmm. But what if they were manipulated into it? It could have been a murder, but not like a direct murder. They obviously got involved with a cult. They were being given instructions. They were driven out to the place where they had to lay down with their masks and die.
Right.
So there could be a secret hand behind the scenes, just sort of pulling their strings, that convinced them they had to do this. Otherwise, some sort of terrible catastrophe would occur.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so maybe it was to get the money, because they could have dropped the money off with their handlers before they climbed the rest of the way up the hill.
Yeah, especially in inclement weather, and they wouldn't want to lose all that money.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe the money was, like you said, maybe the money was meant to, if they did get instructions from someone on how to do this, maybe the money was meant as payment for the instructions.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. That sounds very logical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was trying to think if there was anything you said that I disagreed with, but I can't think of anything, so.
I mean, you still disagree with the thought that they might be gay lovers.
I mean, honestly, of all of the theories, that one actually kind of makes the most sense.
I know, right?
They
were so close, and they believed so deeply, and they trusted each other and confided in each other of all their worst fears, and they went into the dark together.
Yeah.
Trying to find the light.
And I mean, granted, I never said that wasn't what was happening. I just said we didn't have any evidence that was what was happening because you kept coming back to that. But honestly... I
get an idea and I write it hard to the end.
So I've heard that you can poison yourself very slowly to the point where over the course of, a few days, you can poison yourself so slowly that it will kill you, but it's not detectable.
Yeah, and you can do that with pretty much anything. You can totally poison yourself with normal substances.
Here's what I'm thinking. Maybe they got their hands on some cyanide pills or something like that, right?
Or apple seeds.
And because even though it is such a dumb theory, it is the one that makes the most sense in my mind. I'm going to go with they were gay lovers.
Oh, yeah.
They were gay lovers, and they wanted to go out on their own terms, couldn't handle living in a world that could not accept them because they couldn't be together. I believe the Volkswagen sedan thing was a cover.
Oh, clearly.
just tell him.
No one actively goes for Volkswagen sedans. Not unless you're like a first-time driver.
So what I'm thinking is that they took all that money with them because they wanted to spend one last, of course, there's no witnesses that said that they went anywhere else. I don't know.
They had a whole lot of beers, and they took the beer with them, which is why they didn't return the receipt.
The beers disappeared into the stratosphere.
Maybe the beer was a sacrifice to the aliens.
Regardless. Fuck, where do the lead masks fit into this one, though?
I don't know. This is your theory. You gotta make it work, man.
It's partially your theory, too.
Well, yeah.
Why did they have the lead masks? Oh, to throw everybody off. Duh.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
because they got the lead masks on. Okay, so they went up there to have, to kill themselves, to be together. They had the lead masks to throw everybody off because otherwise, what does this look like? It looks like two gay dudes, and they didn't want their wives. They still love their wives. They just, and not in love with them. They didn't want their wives to be harassed by their own, their husband's homosexuality. So they took the masks so that when people found them with the masks on, that would throw them off. Because without the mask, what does this look like? It looks like two gay dudes who decided to take their own life. But with the masks...
Yeah, that was the immediate first thought I had.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the moment you said they were two dudes that laid down together and died, I was like, oh.
I thought you meant about the masks.
About the masks? No.
So, they took the masks to wear because they're like, this will throw everybody off. They'll think something else is going on, right?
Yeah.
So, that's what I'm going with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they left all that cryptic note stuff behind just to further just sort of red herring the trail.
Yeah, I think that was to red herring the cyanide pills they were taking. The last sheet was actually, instructions for when to take their cyanide pills to slowly poison themselves.
Yeah.
The rest of it was just, again, red herring, throw everybody off.
Mm-hmm. Because they're smart dudes. They're technicians.
Yeah, they've got degrees and shit. Just like me.
Yeah.
Except theirs is in something useful, and mine is, from a non-existent university in solving unsolved mysteries.
Oh, I thought that the university was real. Are you saying that you lied to me?
No, it's real.
Okay, good. Because I invested like a $10,000 loan.
I was going to say
in my first classes for the semester.
Speaking of, wait, hold on, you're getting ripped off because there's no semesters. You just pay the guy and he gives you a diploma.
That's all you need. Just boom, money, boom, diploma. Here we go. You got a bachelor's.
You give him money, and he's like, "Hey, solve the mystery of Atlantis." And no matter what you say, he's just like, "All right, here's your doctorate of philosophy in solving unsolved mysteries."
Yeah, you don't even have to go in front of a board to defend your paper that you spent like 3 semesters working on.
But I meant to say this at the top of the episode.
You were just too eager to get into the whole mask thing.
By next week, I do need you to have a PhD. You can't be on the show anymore. So.
Oh, yeah. Damn, I need to get on it. I mean, I did get that loan.
Again, it's super simple. You pay the guy, you answer a question, he hands you a diploma.
All right. I mean, I already have an associate, so I'm halfway there.
Anyway, so is that your theory, though? The thing you were talking about with... Not the gay guy thing, the other part.
Yeah, I think it was a cult, drew them in, manipulated them, got them to give them a whole bunch of money, and then they went and killed themselves for the sake of humanity, and them being gay was totally ancillary.
Oh, I was going to say, like...
They're still gay.
Oh, no, that guy is man. You don't even know.
We're not getting around that.
You've never seen a dude go after a butthole so fast. Does that even mean?
I don't know. I'm just imagining one-shot questers with the bard just hip thrusting towards the dragon.
God, I hate that trope so much.
Oh,
like that's.
I play a bard and she's married and has a child. She's also a goddess, but what do you want from her?
So you're going with the cult thing. I'm going with they were just gay lovers in the masks.
And trying to throw everyone off the scent.
Well, I guess we're just going to have to agree to disagree on this one.
All right. We can't agree every time.
I mean, I'm technically more right than you because I do have the PhD and you haven't gotten one yet, so...
Yeah, that's fair.
But I think that is going to do it for this episode, guys. Again, want to welcome Cassandra to the show.
Yay!
And,
thank you very much for adopting me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're not supposed to know you're adopted yet, though. I'm just imagining it as the inverse of... Mom, Dad, am I not adopted? No, you're adopted. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's fine. You're adopted. Everything, it makes sense, right?
Well, all my friends at school keep saying that I'm not adopted, that I'm your biological child. Like, what the is happening? Anyway.
Oh, that reminds me of a situation. I'll tell you later.
You can find Cassandra on Twitter at TheGameCatcher. As usual, if you guys have a mystery that you want us to solve right here on the podcast, you can send that in an email to mysteriessolvedpodcast, all one word, at gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook at Unsolved Mysteries Solved. You can find us on Twitter at UMS_podcast. Best way to support the show right now is just to spread the word, keep word of mouth. We do have possibly some stuff in the works coming up.
Yeah, I mean, there is the one guy you can slap some money in his hand to get a diploma. We might be able to sort of like outsource that.
Right.
Is that the right word? Outsource?
I guess. I don't know.
Spread, proliferate.
Well, there's one big one that I don't want to really talk about yet, just because it might not happen. But if you guys, the listeners, might be open to it, let us know either with an email or on Twitter or something. We might start a Discord channel, might start a Facebook group. I don't know. We'll see. Mm-hmm. We would also appreciate it if you would go on iTunes, Stitcher, Google, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a glowing review. If you say anything bad about us, well, then you're a dick.
We might just go on a road trip to the nearest hill.
Right.
I hear it's a stormy night tonight.
Leave a 5-star rating while you're at it, because as I keep saying, anything less is a dick move and you're dead to me. And, in the meantime, we will see you right back here next week with a brand new mystery. And in the meantime, how do we always end the show, Cassandra?
I am blanking so hard right now.
Don't question us or you will be put down.
Yep, don't question us or you will be put down.
There we go. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening, guys.
All right, bye!
Shut up, guys. This is why I don't do these things in person.
Are you a fan of film, animation, true stories sometimes based off nothing more than hearsay and faulty human memory? Then hi, I'm Joss from Off the Cutting Room Floor, a bite-sized film history podcast. In Off the Cutting Room Floor, I serve as your humble armchair expert and tell you some of cinema's most fascinating behind-the-scenes stories and legends. Featuring a cast of podcasters, Season 1 takes a close look at the development of the cult-hit musical, Little Shop of Horrors. Off the Cutting Room Floor, a bite-sized film history podcast, can be found on social at OTCRRoomPod, and Season 1, Little Shop of Horrors, can be found on your podcatcher of choice. Music is Always Slept So Soundly by Sarasu.